Hi everyone, it's Denise with Wondubar Crafts. Today I am going to play with some playing cards. Now, yesterday was a crazy day. I didn't get to film this yesterday like I wanted to. And then we kind of got real busy doing some stuff this morning, so I didn't get a chance to film this till this afternoon. So this will air a little later than it normally does. And I noticed, and it's funny too, because Crafty Cat said, you and Allie, the Cockney crafter, must be on the same wavelength, because I showed clusters. She did clusters. She did one on playing cards. I noticed just a little bit, like a few minutes ago when I turned on my computer, I was like, oh, okay, well, so I guess maybe I haven't got to watch it. I just kind of seen bits and pieces from her video. Hers are a little different. She decorates. She did some decorating and stuff on hers and showed you some different things. So this video, I just want to show you like my process and how I get to these. I decorate both sides, and I wanted to use Crafty Cat's purple. She's got all these beautiful purple little ladies in here. So I did a couple with those so far, and I'm probably going to do the remainder of these with those. But I did a couple just with like her stamps on there, and just to show you there's some different things you can do. The great things about playing cards, I have like a line stamp on the back. If you don't have one, I'll tell you what you can do, what you can use to make that those lines if you want. But you can use it as a journaling card, or you can alter it. You could put a paper clip on here, make it an altered paper clip. It's a nice little tuck. If you want to decorate both sides, it can just be a decorative little tag that you put in somewhere. So they're feasible. You know what I mean? There's multi-uses for them, and I like them. Or you could even put one in a envelope as a little, card or thank you card or whatever. So, anyway, what I did was I went ahead, and as I was making these, I did a few up in different phases, because you're going to have to you can put other stuff on here to cover the back, or if you're just going to put something over that will cover that portion, you don't need to do the gesso on it, or you can use acrylic paint if you want. I went ahead and did them in different phases just so we could go along, and so you're going to start with a plain card. I get these at the Dollar Tree. Let me find my pack here. Beautiful pack. I mean, it's the bicycle style for $1. Can't beat that, right? And then you also get like those extra little cards back there, which you can also decorate and do whatever you want with them. So I think they have them in the blue and the red. So if you prefer red, whatever. But like I said, I get them at the Dollar Tree. They're $1. So they're great for that. And then all I do is I put about 3 coats of gesso on the back. So I already have them in different stages, so you won't have to stop and wait and stop and wait. I may have to just stop once to catch everything up. So anyway, so you're just gonna paint it. That's it. Don't do the other side. You can do the other side if you want to cover the number on the back. I normally just take, the white portion of your napkins. I keep one, because they come in 3-ply. Most of them come in 3-ply. And what I do is I take 1 ply and I use it for stamping my stamp offs. And then the other ply I keep a hold of because I can cover over the back, which helps when you're like wanting to stamp something on these cards, because they are that plasticky, and sometimes your stamp ink smears and it doesn't dry right away. Even if you're using archival ink, it doesn't automatically dry, and it may take a little longer. So I put a piece of white napkin over it. It still is like clear. It just and we'll get to that and I'll show you, but it makes it easier when it dries to stamp. Okay, so there's 1 coat, and then this one already has 1 coat on it, so I'm going to catch it up. So once that dries, put another coat on there, because all we're doing is dulling down that back so we can put a decorative napkin or something over it. Like some of these cutouts are not completely this square like this. They're taller or fatter or whatever. So when I put my napkin over it, it shows the napkin and not this portion. Okay, so that's my second one. And then once that dries, you're going to put a third coat. So this one's got 2 coats on it already. And so, how is everyone doing? Good, I hope. And welcome to any new subscribers, and welcome back to everyone else. I love having you guys. And as you can see from the third coat, it's pretty much, you may still see a little bit, but it won't be as definitive. So I've got one that's got 3 on it already. All right, once that all dries, I just take a buffing board. You can use a fingernail file. You can use a piece of very fine sanding paper, whatever. I just use these because I get them at Sally's in a big, like a big block of them. I think you get like 8 or 10 of them. And because I do keep a couple of them for my own nails, because it's just a thin, fine emery board. And that's at Sally's. That's what I get. That's the number on it. And it's just a fine one. And all I'm doing is just smoothing it out so it's nice and smooth, so my napkin will lay over the top of it. Okay. And then, so now, while those are drying, what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this one done. So what I did was I've already taken the backs off of my napkins, and you guys have probably seen this before. You know, it's nothing new. It's just something that I like to do. So this one I'm gonna got my water pen here, and I just want something that, see, this one may not work as great because I kind of want more decoration to poke through the back. So let me see, what else do I got over here? Let's do this one. This one is the one that had the hummingbird on it, but it's got some other, I used that portion of the napkin and that one, but I had a piece and I don't know if it will fit. Ooh, just barely, but no. I want it to kind of hang over just a little bit. So let's see what portion of the napkin I want to use here. I really don't want to cut that. Okay, here we go. I like this yellow flower here. Well, maybe not. Maybe I want some more color. Around the outer edge, so that way you can kind of see that. But I kind of do like this. There we go. This will be a nice one. It's got some color. It'll show a little bit of white on there, but that'll work. So got the water pen from, I need to get one with a brush. I like the brush. I think the brush will be a little easier. I think you can get them at Hobby Lobby, someone told me. I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet. I'm just going to pull it. I'm not going to do it exactly. A little bit bigger around the frame portion of the playing card. Okay. So I'll probably go back and do these other ones too once those are done. See, then I've got this one I can do too, since I've already done that side, but I was going to show you guys. Actually, let me go ahead and do that one since that one's there. I'll go ahead and do this one with this one because I can decorate something else with it, or just leave it as a pretty decorative napkin. You know what I mean? And you could literally, you know how you can buy those playing cards that have uh, the decorations on the back. I got tons of them. Make your own. You could literally take, if you had like a package of napkins and they were all the same, you could do the full deck the same and have a full deck of playing cards that has your own pattern on it and not even have to decorate the back. You just decorate the back side, you know, if you play cards. I do when I go see family. That seems like that's something we always do, is play cards or do something, you know, when we get together. All right, so we'll do these two. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I know a lot of people put glue down. It's got a little gesso on it. I'm just going to wet the back, and the reason why I do that is it's going to hold my napkin a little better. You can put the gesso or the Mod Podge down, but it'll go through. It's a napkin, so it will go through. I just like to do this because it helps me smoothen my napkin out a little better this way. I don't tend to get as many wrinkles. I will get a few, but there we go. Now I just put a little of my Mod Podge on there, and my wax paper keeps peeling on there. I don't know why it does that, but I know if I don't put something over there, my lid is gonna get screwed on there, and then I'll be yelling at my son, "Can you get this off for me?" It's like the pickle jar. Can you open the pickle jar? And everybody has their own method. Some people I have put the Mod Podge down at the bottom underneath, and I've put it over the top because it does soak through the napkin and it will adhere. I just got my finger put on it and I ripped it. So let's see if we can get that back on there. That's all right. We'll just take another piece of napkin and put it over the top. Oh, goodness. My neighbor dogs are barking, so, you know, my little monkey over here, he's got to put his 2 cents in, you know. All right, so what I'm going to do is, if it tears, no big deal. Just take another piece of napkin close to or similar to the same color and just pop it on there. See, I told you he's got to give his 2 cents in there. Oh, you too? You have it too? Yeah, here we go. Told you. All right. For some reason, it's not wanting to. So I'm gonna tuck just a little on the corner. Just could have not been wet enough. Sorry. Let me turn this off and get him stopped. Hold on. Goodness, you'd think it was, you know, crazy. All right, so I'm going to set this aside, let it dry, and then work on this other one here. My brush a little wet. Put my napkin down. Just a tad of water here. There we go. Now put my Mod Podge or my glue or you know, if you can use Elmer's glue too if you thin it a little bit. I really don't know what the formula is because I don't use it, but I do know other people have used Elmer's glue. So just trying to work some of the wrinkle out. There we go. And then I just set it aside and let it dry. And as soon as those are dry, guys, I'm going to get these other 3 caught up and put some napkins on the back. And then we will work on that next, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, so what I did was I got everything all caught up on these and then just backed them all with some different napkins. And like I was saying, remember when I had showed you, I just put a little water on there to tack it and see how nice and, oh, you can see it, but it's smooth. And the glue picked it up. And then I did one that did not. I just put glue, the Mod Podge, on the back. And I don't know if you can see, but it's a little wrinkly. But that's okay, because I'm going to show you how you can smooth it a little bit and then how you can kind of age it to make it look like a little bit older playing card. So all I'm going to do is just cut the excess off around the playing card here. I have tried doing this when it was wet and everything sticks to your scissors, so I just wait until everything is dry. All right, that one. And not all napkins are the same. And I say that because like this particular napkin, and when you feel them, you'll be able to tell the difference. Some are really papery, and then this one has, I don't want to say it's wax, but it could be like a little more waxier paper than, and it feels different. Like it's still paper, but it's like it's got a different texture to it. And I don't know if it's the ink that they use that makes it a little more shiny and not as matte, or if they put like something over it, or if it's the actual paper they use itself. So when I put glue on this one, it gets like wicked stiff. But that's okay, it still works. So but yeah, yesterday was crazy because so Wednesday night went to bed, and then I woke up early Thursday morning, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, just freezing cold. And I was like, man, what is going on? I mean, I wasn't like, well, let me rephrase that. I wasn't freezing, but I was extremely cold and couldn't get warm under the blanket. So I was like, what is going on? Got up and my heater had went out yet again. That's the 3rd time this month. So, of course, 3:30 in the morning, I don't think my landlord's going to answer her phone. So I just stayed up because I can't sleep when it's that cold, and I get aggravated when I can't sleep. So I'm just better off getting up. And I had started those ones that I had done. I was waiting. I got them done and prepped to do a video later yesterday and for today. And waiting to get a hold of her, and then she told me, so I got those done, and I thought I'll just wait until the heater guy comes, and then I'll do my video. And she had told me that, now this one I've already done the back on, but I'm going to show you how I got to that point. I had, she told me, he's coming first thing in the morning. I said, okay. Because I had texted her at like 7:30. She said, he'll be here first thing in the morning, as soon as they get in. I said, okay. I didn't show up till 12:30. I was like, wow, that's first thing in the morning for them. didn't get finished because come to find out, they put this new valve in before and it was working fine, and then it conked out again. They came and looked and said, oh, well, you just got to hit the valve. Well, to me, that's not a fix. I'm sorry. If you're going to tell me that I have to hit the valve to make my heater work, there's a problem, right? Because that's not what you're supposed to do. It's supposed to auto turn on and off, right? So I said, well, I don't like that. But he said, well, if it happens again, just give us a call. And I was like, well, I'll call my landlady. So they showed up, and they had stuck on the backside. That's all right. I can buff that down. And if your napkin sticks over, that's okay. You can just buff it out, buff it down if it doesn't want to come off. Show you. Just use your little buffer. Yeah, so he comes out, and then come to find out the whole time, the reason why the valve had went out was it wasn't getting enough power to it, and it was working on like a lower voltage, I guess, and then over time it just wore out the valve. And essentially I was supposed to be getting, what, 28 volts, and I think it was only getting like 14. So it was, yeah, I was like, oh my goodness. So he didn't leave till about 2:30. By then I was just kaput because I had gotten up so early in the morning. And then so I told my son, I said, well, let's get all your stuff together because he needed to go get his real ID and we need to get his car re-registered. And I said, well, we'll go take care of that first thing Friday. So let's make sure everything's printed because, you know, you got to have all your information and, you know, proof of where you live and all that good stuff, right? So I have not done mine yet. I'm not required to have one because I already have a passport and I have a military ID. So I don't need to have one, but I think I'm going to get one, but it could end up turning into a pain in the butt. I don't know yet. We'll see. So anyway, what was I saying? Sorry. I kind of got focused there. So we get there, and I forgot today is the end of the month. And then we forgot to get his car inspected, so we had to make an appointment to get it in. So we got all the way up there. He got a number. We're sitting in line. He's like number 1, but of course they're going through all these numbers, and we have a very small DMV. It's nothing big. I have never, in all the years that I have lived here or ever been to that DMV, I have never seen it that packed. Ever. It was packed. I mean, even for the driver's license thing. And I sitting there, and then finally I said to the lady, I said, well, how many numbers do you have? She said 50. I said, what number are you on? She said 24. She goes, it's taken me about 15 minutes to get through every person unless they've got additional stuff I have to go through. And I'm like, we're going to be here all day. I said, let's come back when it's not like the end of the month or the very beginning of the month. You know, I mean, his car doesn't need to be registered until the end of next month anyway. So and essentially get this on there, and then I just give it a buff out, smooth out any wrinkles. Remember the wrinkles? This one didn't have any, but, and then I'm going to take it over the edges to get anything that I missed there. And we just do that for all of them. And this one I've already done the paper towel on the back, so I will go through and kind of show that phase too, because it may seem like a really lengthy, it's not going to be a real quick project because you got to wait for glue and all that stuff to dry. But if you're going to do them, don't just do 1 or 2. Do like, you know, 10 or 11 or whatever, you know, 12, half a deck if you want. And then that way you have them. You can use up your fabric scraps. Now this one has wrinkles. So I'm just going to buff over, and chances are you're probably not going to get all the wrinkles out. But if you're going to age it and distress it, you can use those wrinkles when you take your distressor and just kind of, or your ink pad, and just kind of brush it over, and it'll give those wrinkles some ink and make them look just like the card is old and distressed. Kind of cool. I'm just going back and forth on both sides. Kind of get all that excess napkin off of there. Oops, sorry. I'm wiggling the table. Whew. You get a good workout doing this. All I'm doing is running my finger over it because I want it to kind of be smooth. I know that there's some wrinkles here, but if you run it over, then you can kind of get it. You'll feel it. It'll be much smoother. Make sure your cards are dry, because if you do this when they're still wet, you'll pull the napkin and it'll tear off napkin pieces. And you could do that actually to give it an old distressed look, like it's torn or, you know, whatever. That would be kind of cool. But I would be weary about doing it too wet, because you might mess up your emery board. So if you've got like an emery board that's like close to the end of your its life, that's the one I would hold on to and use for like those kind of projects. And you can leave them like this and decorate over the top, just, you know, when you're ready to use them. That way you've got them done, and then just, you know, make your added little embellishments on it when you're ready, or you can do them all at once. I'm going to just put like my Crafty Cat cards over the top, and then pull them out when I'm ready to use them, and then decorate further from there. Okay. So I will say it's normal once you decoupage on any plain card. If you notice, normally plain cards are pretty stiff. Once you wet them and get like the glue on them, they're going to be a lot more flexible. Actually, it's almost going to give like a pleathery kind of look and feel to them, but that's okay. Whew. I guess they're ready to play, huh? Okay, so we've got that. Now you can simply just put a piece of white napkin over the back, so that way you're ready to decorate, or you can leave them just like this. But typically you'll end up with paint or something on the back, so I like to cover it with the white portion of my napkin, and then that way you can stamp on it, add some additional napkin if you want, use up some of that napkin, or you could just simply stamp on them and do whatever. This one is pretty much ready to, it's ready to go for that. So I'm gonna, this one, I'm gonna do one, and then while that's drying, I'm gonna decorate on this one, and then show you guys how I am gonna attach these little ladies on there for that one. So take the white portion, you know, the white backing. You get two. I keep one for stamping and one for the whitest portion that is the furthest from the napkin printout, because a lot of times when you pull it off, one will have like some printing that bled through the napkin. And I don't use that one because then that will unless you want to, it'll transfer to here. I just want to make it as white to kind of cover up any excess paint or anything on there that I want. So same thing. I'm cutting a piece here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on one, and then I'll pause and finish up the rest, and then we'll decorate the front. That way I'm not taking up too much time trying to get these, because like I said, it'll be a little bit of a process, especially if you're going to do more than one on here. Okay, somewhat wet brush. We'll lightly brush over the top of it just to hold my napkin down. And chances are, if your brush is in the water, you're going to have a little bit of glue or gesso or something. That's okay. It'll actually help hold it down. And then I'm just going to take the wet brush and kind of try and get some of the wrinkle out of it. I don't want it sopping wet, just lightly damp, so to speak. You know, I love how they always tell you, take a damp rag. Well, how damp does it need to be? Because damp to different people, you know, mean different things to different people, right? So I don't want the brush dripping wet. And then what I normally do is dip it and then just kind of on either side, just kind of get the excess off. And then just run it and try and, you can pull on the napkin, but chances are you're going to tear the napkin. So you take the risk of that. Try and get as many of the wrinkles out as I can. And, you know, you might not be able to get all of them, but that's okay. You can work it a little bit because you can always buff it down, right? And then I just put my glue on over the top because the napkin is wet and it will soak through. And it, as you can see, it will adhere to the playing card. Right. And then same process as before. You're just going to let it dry. You can use the heat tool, but I will tell you, when you're using the heat tool over anything that's painted, like when you paint it with the gesso, hold it way up. Same thing with the napkin, because you don't want it to bubble or air to get up underneath it anywhere. Okay. Hold it way up. See, like it tore there, but that's okay because that's a white part. It's not going to be, I can buff it and make it, smooth it out and make it blend it. It's not a big deal. This is just so that I can have a nice area here instead of that plasticky piece to stamp on. And it will hold my stamp color and dry it much faster than if I just stamp on it and then have to set it aside and wait all that time for it to make sure that it's all dry and blah, 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 blah. So let me get these other ones done and I'll pop back on and we'll continue on. Or actually, while that, we'll set that aside. So instead of doing that, this one's already done. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pick a piece from one of the napkins that I like. This one's got a little, let's see. Let's take this pretty little red butterfly here. And that one, like I said, it's already done. I'm just going to kind of get everything ready. I'm going to stamp on it first, and then I can put my little butterfly on here. Okay. So this is just showing you kind of what you can do. So I have a stamp that has lines on it. It's an old wooden box stamp, okay, from Stampin' Up. I think this one's like 2002. If you go through eBay, sometimes you can find these old stamps on there. And I do know that there are other stamp companies that have just the plain lines. If you don't have one right now and you want lines, take a piece of cardboard, you know, corrugated cardboard, where you can turn it like if you have an old mailing box or something, and where you can see the core. It's got 2 layers. Peel a piece of the top layer off, this layer, and it will expose the corrugation, and it will give you lines. And then you just ink it. It's probably only good for a couple times, but I've seen people do it. I haven't had to do it because I have my little line stamp, you know, which, although it's on a block, I still like it. So, all right. You could do this any color you want. Let me move that because I will stick my hand in there, and then I will look like I went to the Bahamas and be all tan. Not that that's a bad thing. I don't know. I'm still a little worried about traveling to Scotland in August with all this virus stuff going on, and so I don't know. And then I have a, where is my other, oh, I gotta start a new one. See how this one's still got a little color from the back of the other napkin? I use those ones as my stamp offs, and you can collage with that and stuff. So you just cut that piece out if you need a little line piece or whatever. Keep my stamp out because I'm going to need it for my other ones. And this just gives me some journaling space. So now what I can do is add my little butterfly down here if I want. Just wet it. And because that's on napkin already, the ink is already pretty much dried on there. I'm just brushing over it with a wet brush, and it's not going anywhere. So if I put that on the plain plastic, I can tell you I would have had to sit here for about 10-15 minutes waiting for it to dry. So now I just got to wait for that to dry, the ink there, or the glue to dry on that, and I can use my heat tool on it. And then that side's done. See? And then that's pretty much what I did here, was just cut a piece there and then put a little butterfly there and just wait for it to dry, and then you'll have yourself a little journaling card to do whatever, embellish whatever way. So let me go ahead and get some napkin on the back side of this, let them dry, and I will be right back. Okay, so as you've seen, this one was already done on that side. And then what I did was I just added butterflies and some flowers. This one I just cut out the portion of the napkin that says tulips. Although there isn't tulips in the front, but you know, whatever you like to do. Okay. And now you can leave them like this. I like to ink them, and then I'm going to add some of these beautiful ladies to some of the fronts on here, or some stamps or whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and distress it now, so I don't forget, right? Both sides. This one's pretty smooth. This one's a little wrinkly, so I'm going to show you how you can kind of, if any of that area is raised and you want those wrinkles to kind of stand out and not be kind of white or, you know, color of the napkin. Ooh, got a piece of napkin there. All right. So I'm going to lightly just kind of brush over just the top of my card, and anything that's got like that raised, now you can see it kind of gives a little bit of a distressed look instead of it being like a white wrinkle. So that's, you know, a kind of a saving grace if that happens with your napkin. It happens even when I try to smooth it out. Sometimes I'll get wrinkles in it, and it happens. It just does. This is a great way too to use up some of your napkin scraps. If you don't always, you know, I know a lot of people like to collage with them and stuff, and that's great. I do too, but I have like a little plastic bag, and it's got all my bits and pieces from like napkins that I have used, and I keep those when I'm doing my playing cards, so then that way I've got something I can just use them up. Good way to use them up. I mean, for $1 for the playing card pack, you know, you can't beat that, really. Really can't. This one's got some wrinkles on it, so. Oh, and if you've never done these before, which some of you may already have done this kind of things before, you'll know that when you paint, when you put gesso or you put glue on these things, they'll bow like this when they're wet, and then as they dry, they'll flatten out. Sometimes you might get a little bow and it's still dry, like it'll still have a little hump in it. Doesn't mean that it's not dry. Just pick it up and touch it, and then you can just straighten it out from there. But it is normal for that to happen. Do I have an edge that's, I thought I seen an edge. It might just be curling up. Yeah, I did. And while we're at it, if you get a little edge that peels up, just put a little bit of glue down there and just flatten it out. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. And it is collage, so you could actually take the file, you know, folder and you know, just kind of thingy over it. File it down and make it look like a torn edge or whatever. Excess ink on there. I'm just going to kind of blend it in with my finger. But there I can see my wrinkles now, and they look like they're distressed and old. I like it. Yeah, but like I said, it was a crazy, I missed that spot cutting it off. Crazy day at the DMV, and we must have sat there probably a good hour or so already, and we were like, man, the line's not moving. And I said to Zach, I said, go ask her, and he's like, I don't know what to say. So I went up and I said, how many numbers do you have before you repeat it? Because he had ticket number 1, you know, and she said 50, and I said, well, what number are you on now? She said 24, and I said, oh my. And then she said, yeah, it's taking about 15 minutes per person. And I was like, we're going to be sitting here all day. All day. I said, let's come back when it's not so, you know. There we go. I probably have brown thumbs, but that's all right. I wonder if this stuff would work as bronzer. You know, you could just get the right color and I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I mean, do it if you want, but all right. So she had these beautiful ladies on here, and I am probably going to cut them down and add a little, you know, to my playing cards so that it looks like I have fancy ladies, purple ladies. Or purple dressed ladies. They're not purple. They're dressed in purple. But I like this little kit because she's got, it's just a little one. It's only like a 3-pager. But I'm thinking I can add those on there and kind of give them like its own little playing card thing. I'm sorry that my neighbor's dogs are just out of control sometimes. Of course, mine do too. Okay, so I'm just going to glue, just give a little tack glue, and then I will sew around it at the machine. And then, like I said, I just do this now, and then later, as I can pull them out and put whatever I want on them, right? I kind of like this one on here, I'm thinking. Actually, it might look good on here. Cut her, just sliver her down just a little bit closer. It's probably not straight on, but Should I center it in the center? Or off to the side? Maybe off to the side a little bit. Ooh, my glue is coming out. You guys watch that? I don't know why it's doing that. Offset that one too. Oop. Get it on there a little more even. There we go. And then I'm just going to sew around them. So let's see. I like this lady. Her face is kind of hidden from her hat because she's got such a big hat on. That's me having a bad hair day. I want a big hat. Cover all my hair. Because I'm not dyeing anymore, and so it's a lot of gray. Put that one right in the middle. And so, and then I did have a perm put in it, like a body wave. Well, it's more like a perm, really. And yeah. I get up, when I have long hair, I just get up and just kind of comb it through with my fingers because it was long. Now that it's short, geez, it's like, wow, all over the place. Boy, something must be really getting to those guys out there because they're just going to town, aren't they? So you could, or you could even put these on the back and have like, you know, all the same on the front and then have like different playing ladies, you know. I don't know. Any way you want. Or you could just, you know, you don't even have to use a napkin. If you don't have napkins, that's okay. Take and just measure out like whatever you want to cover over that and then just glue it down. I was going to put it on the other side, but I think I'm going to put it here so you can see the butterfly. I like this lady. I'll trim her in just a little bit, so. And then put her in the middle. Because that one, although it has some pretty lilacs on it, or purple posies, or whatever they are, on little butterfly, it's not really too focused, so. And I'm just tacking them on because I will be sewing over them at the sewing machine. See, this is where you find out that your cutting skills probably are not that great. Not too bad, though. All right, where do we want to put on this one? Maybe a shorter one, or maybe we could do, instead of a lady, she's got some really pretty stamps in here. We could, do I want that stamp, or do I want that stamp? I think I kind of like the color on that one. So I have some of these scissors. I got these scissors at Hobby Lobby. They came in a big round tub, and it has like 10 scissors or something like that in the circular, you know, like Lazy Susan kind of thing. And they are kind of like kid scissors, but, you know, they work. You can't do really thick or heavy things with them, but hey, they work. So, and then you can, before you sew or after you sew or whatever, you can stamp on top because the napkin is there. and it will dry very quickly. So I'm thinking, let's do some stamping. I'll do a little bit of decorating on here. These are fun though. I mean, just for like if you're wanting to, like a daytime project or whatever, you know. Let's see. I'm gonna that like that maybe, and then let's see, what do we got here? We got Moscow. We could put United States, United Kingdom, Rome. Let's put United States here. So we'll put that there, and like I may have to stamp over it again. So that's what we'll do. We'll stamp it. We'll stamp on there. Stay. Alright, and then we'll, where do we want this? Like right there, I think. There we go. So it looks like it went through the mail. Alright, where's my stamp off paper here? The great thing is, see, now I got ones that line, so I can actually decoupage something that has like a little line or whatever, and it's already stamped there or whatever. Keep that one out because I might use that one again. Let's see. I think I want some script or some music on there. So I'll just kind of pop that on there. I don't have to have the whole thing covered. Here, maybe. Like that, and maybe down there. And it doesn't have to be, you know, perfect. Do it how you want to do it. I like this one because it's kind of got a, almost like a half page kind of thing. Just tap a little bit there and maybe some there. Something there. All right. This one, let's see. Keep those out because we'll probably use those again. Let's put another little butterfly on there. Is that a butterfly? I don't think that's a butterfly. This one's a butterfly though. I'll have the butterfly go this way. Now, if you stamp that on normal plain card, it's going to take forever for it to dry. Well, you can use your heat gun. And it could be that in different places they dry really quick, and maybe it's just because it's so humid here. And when I mean humid, it doesn't always mean that it's like hot humid. It's just humid. All right, let's see. Got this lady here. That lady. Do this one. Put a little quote on this one. Oop. ripped my little bag. Guess they're just trying to tell me that I need to hurry up and get my other things done here. Let's see. What does it say? Sunshine. Remember that you're the one that can fill the world with sunshine. I like that. Oh, I haven't used that one yet. Doesn't want to pull off. All right. And I'm using that Archival Eat potting soil. It's a little bit, I think, it's very close to the Distress ink, just I think a little bit darker. All right, let's put that like right there. I like that. It's very simple, very cute. Okay. 2 more, and we don't have to put stamps on those if we don't want to. It's totally up to you. I like to put a little something on there, even though I'm sewing. This one has a little squirrely whirly too. This one I like because it's got like postage already on it. Put that on that one. I just don't want to cover the lady. Yeah, that's going to be too big. It's going to cover our lady. Don't want to do that. There we go. It's very simple. And then I think, what am I going to do here? I need to stamp that off. My stomach is starting to growl. I'm not used to doing videos this late in the afternoon anymore. Yeah, tomorrow I may not have a video only because I'm going up to Kansas City to go see my niece. And she is the one helping me with my my Facebook group stuff. Am I put this the right way? I think so. Music on the top of that. Oh, price. Damn, pull that off. All right. Let's see. And I'm going to have ink all over. That's okay. Let's do like this end. Oh, do you guys hear my tummy? It's just a rumbling. There we go. Okay. So, set these off to the side. I need to stamp that off somewhere in here. There we go. All right, and then let's, I'm gonna tell you guys something funny, and I'll tell you as soon as I do it, and then you guys will understand. So let's go ahead and move on over to the sewing machine. Ta-da! Sorry, that's funny because Lori E., my friend Lori E., she made a comment about every time I switch over between cameras, she always says, ta-da! So that one's for you. I said, thanks for telling me that, because now every time I'm going to want to say ta-da in my head. All right, I'm going to do a zigzag stitch on this one. And I made it a smaller width because it's not a big piece, so I just need a small zigzag. So my width, I have set it like 2.5 millimeters, and I'm just going to sew around it, just very simply. And I do try and hold on to the card because it is a plain card. Even though there's napkin on it, it can be a little slick, so you know you want to make sure that your feet are grabbing it okay. So just take it very slow. Now let's go one more. And back in. And it's kind of out too far. So I'm just going to make 1, 2, and then turn it back again so it's back on schedule. And it's very close to the edge, so I'm going to turn it in so that it still picks up on the edge, and then turn it back on again. And it happens. Don't freak out if it does. There's always some way to fix it, and even if it doesn't, you know, it's junk journaling, so it's okay to make mistakes, and it actually gives something character when it's not exactly the same as everyone else's. But don't be afraid of your machine. I mean, take practice pieces of paper and just run them through there and just see what it does. Okay, so there's that one. Just going to snip my little pieces. And there's that. And I'll show you more closer on the other one. It has better lighting, I think, a little bit. All right, so this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag around. Let's see, I'm going to lower my tension a little bit. Zigzag around this, and then I'm going to do a straight stitch around the outside. And although, yes, it is going to, you know, it'll show on the other side where you write, but I think it's going to give it a little bit more character to write in between, you know, like in between. You could write like around it, and then have a separate boxed in area that you could write like a little quote or something different in there. And all I'm doing is keeping where that paper, let's see, 1, 2, I'm keeping that piece of paper right in the center of my foot there. And you may have a different style foot. This is just a different foot that my machine has. You can use the simple straight stitch foot and do the same thing. And then I'm going to move over to a straight stitch, and then I'm not even going to go in a quarter. I'm just going to go in, I don't know, maybe about 1/8, maybe a quarter. It's close. Okay, so when we got rounded corners, we can square and just turn like this if you want, or if you want to kind of give it a different, like almost like a rounded, it's not quite squared off, just turn it like halfway. So, you know, it's straight up and down here, then turn it about midway before you come all the way down, make 1 stitch, and then turn it all the way down. And then that way you won't have squared off if you don't want a squared off look. You can still do it if that's what you like. but it will help if you have rounded corners to make it look more like it's supposed to be a rounded corner. Snip off my little ends there. You don't have to. You can leave them if you like that kind of raggedy look. But what I was saying is, like, you could write like around it and then put like a little separate quote in here so it's separated. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead real quick and finish stitching these, and I'll be right back. Well, and then when I'm done, I'll move over to the other table. Okay, guys, so this is what I came up with. I know this video is kind of running a little long, so what I did was just did a couching stitch on there on that one, okay, and then I just zigzagged around that, and then I just did a straight, and then around the outside I did a zigzag, and then I just picked up and did a straight stitch around the rest of it. Okay, same with that one we did on the video, and this one as well. I go along with my other 4 that I had done, and like I said, you can do them any way you want. These are cute little journaling cards. You can later embellish them for tags or tucks or whatever, put them in an envelope as a little thank you card, whatever you want to do. So that's how I do some of my altered playing cards. You could also make a paper clip, you know, put a paper clip in, back it with a piece of paper over it, and use it as a paper clip in there, which I might show you guys how to do that one in another video. But this one has gone really, really long, so I will let you guys go. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and until next time, guys, keep crafting on. Plenty of hugs, loves, and blessings. Mwah. Bye, guys.